What's up, everybody? This is Jay, and this is my video recap for Godfather of Harlem Season 2, Episode 1, The French Connection. Now, as we see in Season 2, Bumpy, he's in exile. He's trying to avoid being killed by the mob. Chin Gigante is really looking for him. He's pissed, and Bumpy, he's got a lot to answer for, so he's trying to figure out how to get these sanctions off his back, reclaim Harlem, and get back to doing what he does best. Running things. So we'll see as this video, I recap the episode and let you know what I think about it at the end with my real talk. Now, enjoy the video. When we see it's 1964, February 4th, the World's Fair was in New York and Bumpy was on the run, and we see that the Italian mob was after his ass, and so he done grew a beard, he done got disheveled, and he's trying to get away from them, but they on his ass like white on rice, and so he got these dudes trying to run him off the road. They got the shotty, they ready to blow him away. They ain't playing no games, and so Bumpy, he trying to whip it. He's like Grand Theft Auto Vice City in this piece, and he's trying to bend corners like a curb, get the hell out of there. Dude is hanging out the side of the window, blew out his back window with the shotty, little glass splattered on him, cut him. He's pissed, but Bumpy is able to still keep the wheel moving, and he's handling it like he was driver the wheel man. And next thing you know, he makes a couple little dips and dobs, and then he loses them, and then they end up getting pissed and lose control, and one of them crash into a car, and Bumpy is able to keep it moving and get to where he going safely. While they crash, he loses them, and so we see Bumpy, he's gone, he see in the rear view mirror that he's free. Next thing you know, we see Bump, he's pulling up, letting his people know. They got the walkie-talkies. They get out, they see in the trunk of the car, once they come and check on Bumpy and make sure he good, that he got a little special gift. It's a little dude in the back. So we see that he's talking to the dude is talking in French, acting as if he don't know no English. He's saying he a tourist from France. Why am I here? And Bumpy like, look, we can keep playing these games, or you can come clean. Where's Jean? And he's saying, I don't know about no Jean. I don't know this man. And he's saying, okay, we can keep playing, but I know you know, and you're gonna give me what I need to know. And so he's still trying to play, and then he let him know, I know that you know English. And so he's saying, I'm gonna give you one more time, or else I'm gonna have to hurt you. And then Bumpy pull out the blade, and so he see that blade. Next thing you know, he gets sliced like cheese, and it's a wrap. He's spilling the beans. Meanwhile, Bump got his connections and his security on top, while he's sitting there damn near in tears, talking to his wife, telling her about how hard it is, what he going through, and how he tired of it. And he's saying, I gotta sever the French connection. In playing chess, it's time for me to go back and reclaim Harlem. I need to be with the family. And so meanwhile, we see Chin, he's pissed. He's telling his boys, they giving him a report on why it's so hard to find Bump, and they saying that it's really hard. He got a lot of people helping him, and that Bumpy is able to evade. They got all type of help, and he got all type of walkie-talkies. He like, we'll find out how he gets his money. And so they all pissed and upset. And he said it's embarrassing. Meanwhile, at the mosque, we see that Brother Malcolm is returning. He comes and he sees that Bumpy's daughter is there tending to the junkies and everything, and so he proud of her. He goes and talks to one of the ministers that's running the joint, and Brother Minister there is saying, you know, peace be with you, brother. Good to have you back. And he said, yeah, it's been 90 days. I should be back. He like, oh, it's been 90 days already? Man, well, we haven't gotten any message from the minister letting us know that it's okay for you to come back. He said, well, I've written him many letters. Is that he got the letters? And he's saying, I don't know, but we haven't gotten word. But when I do, I'll let you know. Meanwhile, we see little Frenchie, and he's sitting there drinking on his drink when Bump comes in with his boy, and he's saying, you know, you got a good guy here. It took a lot for him to go ahead and talk. And he's saying, I went to war with him, and we never got a scratch. And now he's with you, and he gets hurt. What is this? And Bumpy said, hey, look,
I'm here to do a deal. I can make all of you a lot more money. You can have 10 Harlems. 10 Harlems. And it's better. You can help me be my front man, my distributor. And so he said, I don't know if they could do this. You come in, you do this, and you take my man and you hurt him. I mean, what kind of trust do I have? And Bump said, I helped Lucky Luciano move some of the first keys into Harlem. He trusted me because I'm a man of my word. You trust me, and we can make a lot more money. Work with me, and we can make things happen, okay? And so he said, you just like me, a visitor to this country. The only thing is, you came on your own and I was forced. And he said, but if I work with you, then the Italians will come after me and I'll have to go into hiding just like you. He said, so far, they haven't found me and I'll take care of that.
Meanwhile, we see Stella's mama coming in looking cute, and she got on her little mama dress, and she trying to say, hey Stella, how are you? How are you? How you doing? I got something for you. You want something to eat? Don't worry. Everything is going to be all right. We're glad we have you back home. Yeah, your father is happy. We're going to forget about everything. We're going to forget about that Teddy. We're going to forget about everything. And she, what do you mean? This ain't a home, this a prison. And she throw the little glass at her and she run out of here. And she like, I'm not, you guys are horrible. You're horrible. And so she locking the door. I can't believe this. Oh God. Meanwhile, we see that Brother Malcolm is sitting there thinking, and when he pulls up at his little house, modest home, he goes in and his wife is there and he telling her that they still ain't reinstate him. And so she like, okay, well, I got dinner for you. And so he's like, did you hear what I said? They ain't restated me. I mean, what am I supposed to do? She said, well, I heard you, but what can we do? He like, well, without the temple, who am I? What am I supposed to do? And she said, look, I'm happy to have you home. You never been home this much before. Me and the kids are happy to have you. And you're a husband. You're a father. That's who you are. I'm glad to have you back home. We love you. We can't wait to keep you here. Please relax. We love you. And so Big Red, he's sitting there and he started to let it sink in, but he said he got work to do. Meanwhile, we see the mob. They counting the cash. They said, what we have here is $1.5 million. This right here is half the payment, and the other half will be delivered upon the shipment arrival. And then he said, well, how come Bumpy Johnson walks in to talk to me today? You have had the hit for him for 3 months. He cut my man. You guys are supposed to handle this. And then he said, that's Chin's problem. You supposed to take care of that. He said, fuck you. I'm trying to do it. You know how hard it is to take care of this? I mean, we got a lot of button men in there. He said, well, why don't you put more men on it? He said, yeah, right. So what? More white guys in Harlem. I mean, that's just, might as well put a sign on it and say, here, I'm a hitman. Then he gets a message from his little goon, and he telling him, hey, we got some info on who bring Bumpy the food. We should be able to get him by the end of the day. He said, you know what? I got the word. Bumpy Johnson will be dead by the end of the day. I guarantee it. Meanwhile, we see Brother Clayton Powell. He's in there reading and he's smoking, and his brother right there is asking him, how's things going? And he's saying that he's upset that he can't be back home in Harlem, and that he's upset that he got to be on the run from a bag lady. And he said, well, look, if you pay her, we won't have to worry about it. And he said, all right. Meanwhile, we see security is on that S for Bump, and we see Brother Method Man rolls up, and so he get out the car, he comes, and so we see him and Bump talking, and he's some type of heist man, and so he's able to talk with Bump telling him, hey, look, we got the shipment, we can go ahead and hit that shipment, 500 keys. And if we go ahead and get the 500 keys, then we can control Harlem. He's saying, so you want to steal the keys from the mob, but you're not going to keep it. You're going to give it back. He said, I got to use it as leverage. My man right here, he's an excellent sniper. We already know that your hijacking crew can take care of anything. We go ahead and do this. Next thing you know, we have the inside connect. We can have 10 Harlems, 10 times as much money,
you get the product 50% cheaper. So what did you say?
So he said, I don't know, Bumpy. It's a lot of risk. He said, yeah, but it's a lot of reward. And so next thing you know, we see at Chin's house, he talking with his wife and his brother, and he's telling them, about why they eating the cakes, that Stella is going through a lot. And she's saying, I don't know. I just can't trust her. She's dangerous. And he's saying, well, you kept her in the house too long, cooped up. You got to give her some freedom. And so he looking at her. She said, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And he said, well, look, we're going to find somebody to let her get a little fresh air, get out of the house, show that you trust her. Okay. Meanwhile, we see at the 22 West, we see that Elise is sitting there, and she got a little smile on her face when Brother Malcolm come. He got them chiclets shining, and so they smile, and he said, hey, I'm just here to check on you, make sure everything is okay. I heard about what you had to do. Killing a man is heavy on the soul. And she said, well, a lot of people have done that in the nation. It's all right. I was either kill or be killed. And he said, okay, well, I was just checking on you, make sure everything was fine. She said, well, I had to do what I had to do for my father and for my family. I mean, it's okay, Brother Malcolm. I'm just waiting for you to be back. And he said, okay, well, I was just checking to make sure. Pretty soon, hopefully, I'll be back. And so they all smiles, chiclets is showing, everybody happy. Meanwhile, we see that Chin is getting a call, and he's hearing that they got the word on Bumpy. And so Chin say, come here, I want you to go and take my daughter out. He like, what, is you crazy? Shut up, you Mama Luke. Hey, she needs some fresh air, like a health walk. You give her a health walk or something, all right? That's what you do, all right? Meanwhile, we see that Elise is going to bring Bump his food, and she got on her little outfit, which is how they was able to track her. And they like, so what is this? You want to give him his food? Nah, you go ahead. Meanwhile, it's two hitmen watching the whole thing go down in the car. They get out. They got the Tommy gun and everything, and a couple of his security guards left to get some food. Meanwhile, she come up, give Bump his food. They talking. He get a phone call pretty soon from his daughter, aka his granddaughter, and he talking to her. She talking about the food and everything. He telling him he think the Farrakhan and Malcolm X about to split the nation. And she like, he said, what you gonna do when it happen? Meanwhile, we see Mamie standing at the colored only water fountain while he getting the call from his daughter. And so she like, hey daddy, how you doing? And so they talking and everything. And while they conversating, his security, they done got slipping. That dude, the two hitmen, then came up behind them, got the drop on them, choked one of them out, choked this chicken, and the next thing you know, he dead. The next dude with the sniper rifle on the roof, he kind of slipping, and then the dude came up there and got the drop on him. They had a little shootout with the Tommy gun and the sniper rifle, and he caught a bullet, but everybody heard it inside. So Bump, he tell Elise to go and take cover and go in the bathroom. Meanwhile, we see Bumpy and his boy, they go ahead and take cover. He go ahead and pull his little pistol out his little sock, and so he taking cover. Meanwhile, they coming up the stairs. They don't even know what they walking into. And so Bumpy, he ready. They don't know what they about to get into. They come around the corner. They start shooting through the door when they walk in, and they didn't realize it was a false door. So while they come in shooting, trying to spray up the place, little did they know that was all a setup. And then they was able to get the drop on them and air them out like dirty laundry. And next thing you know, they got folded up like old homework. They was dead as a doorknob. Bumpy got up close and personal with it, made sure they wasn't moving. But in the meantime, he looked and saw that it was holes in the door where the bathroom was. So he had to go and see if his daughter got shot. And luckily for him and her, she didn't get hit, but it was a couple holes in that shower curtain. So he happy that everything was cool and that she lived. Meanwhile, the phone was still sitting there, and everybody, Mamie and the daughter, heard what was going on, and so she worried that Bumpy get shot or killed. Meanwhile, we see Brother Malcolm running through the Quran, writing stuff down. He getting stressed. His wife Betty come and try to give him a little rub down, and she say, "You all right?" And he say, "Yeah, I'm trying to go through these verses, and if the minister is accused of being with these girls, I got these verses that show that it's okay." And she's saying, "But if he said that he denied it, so if it's true, he's a liar." "Hold your tongue, woman. Don't be disrespectful." And she said, "Okay, all I'm saying is that if he was lying and did this to these girls, don't they deserve to have a voice? Wasn't that wrong for what happened to these young girls?" And he's saying, I don't believe this. These are lies from the white man. Meanwhile, he's stressing. Next, we see Ernie, and he coming to see Stella and take her on a health walk. And he had brought some flowers, and Mama like, "Nah, you need to put these in the trash. Here, have a drink. This is better for you. Trust me, you'll need it." And so he go ahead and sip on a little shinola. And while he go upstairs, she's sitting there reading a book. And he said, "Hey, how you doing?" And she said, "What are you doing here?" He said, "Hey, I don't want to be here either, all right? Your father want me to take you out. It can't be all good for you to be cooped up in this room all the time." She said, "Okay, where you going to take me?" He said, "Hey, I don't know. Where you want to go? Hey, wherever you want to go, that's where I'll take you." She said, "Okay, I want to go to France. You take me to Paris." He said, "Oh, okay, look, I'm just trying to do what your pop said." She said, "Hey, do you think I'm a danger? I got something to tell you. Come here. When Teddy died, I died too." Then she going to slip his revolver out his back pocket. And he like, hey, what are you doing, you spoiled little brat? What are you doing?" And she said, "Hey, I'm getting out of here one way or another. Okay, that's what I'm doing." He said, "Oh, don't you even think about it. Don't do it." And she put the gun to her head and she said, "I'm getting out of here." And she pulled the hammer back, and he like, "You spoiled brat. You got everything and you want to die?" And she put it down, and he said, "Whew, that was close." Meanwhile, we see Adam Clayton Powell, and he talking to his consigliere, and we see that we got Miss James coming in, and he pissed because he about to give her 40 G's. And so she like, "Well, how you doing, Reverend?" He said, "I'm doing fine. Nice to meet you." And he said, "I'm here to make sure that everything goes fine. Now, I have $40,000 here for you, and I just want to have a few things clear. I want to make sure that whatever happens, that this stays out of the press." She said, "Oh, what, you don't want people to know you doing the right thing?" He said, "Well, let's just say I'm ready to keep this downplayed because it can affect some important civil rights legislation. Okay? And, can we forgive and forget like Jesus?" She said, "Jesus ain't never had accused nobody of working with the mob." And he gave her the money, and she said, "It better all be here too, or else you'll hear about it in the newspapers." And he said, "Oh my goodness." She said, "Can I get an apology?" "I apologize." Meanwhile, Brother Malcolm is talking, and he said, I got right here 16 Quranic verses that if the minister is accused of these hacks and needs a defense, that they will be helpful. He said, "Okay, thank you." And when they talked earlier, he had said that, what if the rumors was true? And so that inspired Malcolm to come and write this stuff. He said, "Brother, I admit I was jealous of your close relationship with the minister at first, and I apologize." He said, "Okay, I appreciate that." He said, "It would be really nice to have you back again into the fold." And he said, "All right, thank you, brother. I appreciate that." He said, "I'll pass these on to the minister, and I really look forward to having you back." Okay. Meanwhile, we see this car coming through. Old school, classic. We got the snipers in position. We got Meth and his crew, the heist and takers, all in position. Got these old school Benzos coming through. And so they all in position. They don't even know that they're about to get jacked. And so all of the people right there is doing all of this while Bumpy is getting ready to make his reappearance, getting clean cut, shaved. And so next thing you know, they go ahead and make their move. Meth got the 2 guns, Sally ready to roll. And next thing you know, everybody go ahead and start shooting, busting, and they take down everybody. And next thing you know, they inside the car. and they on the roll. They done made the little 500-kilo jack, and dude was surgical with that sniper, boy. He was picking them off like boogers. And so next thing you know, he was out of there. They done pulled off the heist clean, smooth, and in a hurry. Meanwhile, Bump is talking to Mamie with her fine self, and he's telling her,
it's time for me to play chess. It's time for me to get the French connection, get the distribution, and I'm going to play them against they self and their greed.
And so we see that he has the meeting with Frenchie, and he's saying, so this is what you do? You steal the kilos?
He said, I didn't steal the kilos. What I do and able to do is I know the people who did, and I can get it back for you, okay? But one condition, I need you to be my distribution.
He said, oh, so this is it, huh? You're gonna make us. I guess we have no choice in the matter.
And he said, well, no, you don't have a choice in the matter, but I can get you everything you need, and all I need is for you to front me, be my front man. I need the distribution.
And so he said, you're putting us against the gang of the mob.
He said, don't worry. They got greedy. They want their money.
And so everybody is wondering, is this gonna work? Meanwhile, at the restaurant, the mob is talking in the commission, and they saying, this is some bull. I think we need to go find Frenchie because they stole our money, and let's kill them before they leave town. And he's saying, no, let's wait and see. He's like, what do you mean wait and see? They robbed us. They think that we're soft. And he's saying, I don't think that's what happened. And he said, and what about Bumpy Johnson? He said, we'll take care of him. Next thing you know, he's getting a little bird in the ear about Bumpy, and he said, well, speak of the devil. And Bump walks in with Frenchie, and so Chin is pissed. He like, you son of a, and he gets up, points the gun, you are dead. And they telling him, don't do it, Chin. And he's like, what do you mean? We've been looking for him. And Frenchie say, if you do that, you'll lose all your kilos. And so he like, what do you mean? And he said, put the gun down. And so he's reluctant, but he does put the gun down. And so Bumpy is there, and he said, oh, you are dead. Just wait. You are dead. And he said, look, I'm here to help you. I know who took your keys, and I can get it back for you. And also, I have a business proposition. I want to be able to get the sanctions lifted, and I want to be able to do business with you all. And so he said, this dude is crazier than you, Chin. And he said, look, I want to be able to operate, get the sanctions lifted. How about you bring it to a vote? And Chin said, okay, all right, no problem. Hey, I want them dead. He said, what do you want? You want your money or one more dead Negro? And Chin said, I said one more dead Negro. And he said, how about we put it to a vote? Who wants Bumpy dead? And Chin said, right here, I do. And so nobody else raised their hand. He like, man, are you crazy? All the rules that he broke, he's putting into jeopardy this thing of ours. And you greedy bastards only thinking about the money. What is this about? And Bumpy is smiling because he bet that their greed would win out. And so next thing you know, they vote and say, well, what is it going to be? Him or the money? And then he said, you're dead. Who do you think you are? I'm going to kill you when this is over. And they told Chin, don't touch him. And he said, you know what, Chin? Fork you. I want my money. And so he put up the money, and everybody else at the table in the commission put their hand up for the money. And so now he's pissed. He said, you greedy bastards. And they said, all right, Chin, it's been settled. Do not touch Bumpy Johnson. And the sanctions are now lifted. And so he's pissed because now Bumpy free to operate. And the first thing he do is going back home. He see his daughter Elise is there. And so he's sitting there. She pop up, happy to see him. He's good to be back home. And it seemed that things are starting to look up for Bumpy. And next thing you know, we see Reverend Powell at church, and he giving a nice little sermon, and he's spitting a little game about what's going on. And while he's talking, he's saying that, you got to keep your house in order and everything of that nature. And while he's saying that, we see Chin sitting there trying to take care of his daughter and keep an eye on her. And he's saying if you don't keep your home in order, it will fall into disrepair. And we see Malcolm trying to get things settled with his wife and apologizing. I'm sorry, honey. And next thing you know, they kind of reconnecting with their home. And then we see we got Minister Snitch X over here. And he's like, I'm afraid our fears are been realized. And that Brother Malcolm has been implying that the rumors are true. I have the proof, even though he the one that set Malcolm up to say that. And you see Clayton Powell still preaching. And he's saying everything about keeping the house in order, and home is where the heart is, and all of that good stuff. And we see Bump, and he's there with his family eating dinner, breaking bread, fine ass wife in front of him, and he got his daughters and everybody, and it looked like he back on top winning, and it looked like his plan worked, and he's back home. Now it's time for some real talk. This was a really good episode. It was good to see how it kicked off with Bumpy on the run. They was on his ass. He was able to evade getting caught, getting captured, dodged, and got the hell up out of the way. And he did catch a little backseat bullet and some glass, but we see that he is really a real OG, and how he playing chess on these fools and manipulating the mob in order to get the sanctions lifted. I know a lot of people, because Snowfall is on at the same time, like to compare Bump with Franklin, and the difference is Bump is a lot older than Franklin, and he knows the game already, and so he's able to play chess at a master level, whereas Franklin is still learning. So we get to see how OG operate. Plus they dealing with a different drug and a different game, because instead of dealing with the CIA, he dealing with the mob, and he's also dealing with that smack, that horse, that doogie.
Get the doogie, and we're gonna get the doogie 50% cheaper.
And he's up here able to have a lot of clout. He went to jail for not snitching, so that's why the mob really trust him and respect him already. He's proven himself, and his plan to have 10 Harlems and bring all of the black gangsters together and then buy in bulk is a good idea, and it's gonna actually make them more powerful. Like he said, together they stronger, and that's what he was telling Method Man. Meanwhile, we see on the flip side Malcolm X and the struggles he going through, and how he was blacklisted basically because of jealousy from the Nation of Islam, and that when he said the chickens coming home to roost about the Kennedy assassination, has really been painful for him, and that he was really dedicated to the Nation of Islam and to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and trying to make sure that all of the allegations, which we do know were true, he was trying to cover them up and make excuses for him. And he was really loyal to a fault. Even his wife was there saying, hey, you know, he's saying, who am I? What am I going to do? She like, hey, you a husband, you a father. We want to spend time with you. We love you. You always working and doing all this stuff. And basically they don't want you, but we do. And so it is good to see that conflict. And also Chin and all the commission, Chin Gigante, who was running Harlem here, boy, he really want Bumpy dead. And it was some balls for Bumpy to walk in there like he did. But he knew he had in his back pocket all that doogie, and that they was, of course, greedy, and they didn't want to lose 1.5 million, basically 3 million, because the 1.5 million was the upfront cost, and they didn't want to lose that, and he knew it, and so he played the game perfectly. In the end, I can't wait to see the rest of this series. It was dope. What do you all think in the comments? Who do y'all think is the big OG or the best at handling this gangster stuff, Franklin or Bump? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please hit that like, subscribe, bang that bell, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.